All right, welcome back to another edition of the Horseman Pro Football Talk podcast. I'm Brad.
And Hefe.
All right, so let's go with the big game right off the top. What do you think? Titans at the Eagles. So the Titans are a good team, but they are vulnerable. They lost a big game to the Bengals this last weekend, and that they're slipping in the playoff race. It was not a good time for them to be losing that game. That was a big game. We talked about that last week. And fortunately for them, they should have the AFC South locked up, though, I've seen crazier things happen. Anyway, the Bengals have their number for whatever reason. And I see the Bengals, this might be one of those monkey on your back kind of things, like the Chiefs have a hard time shaking the Colts, and the Colts had a hard time shaking the Patriots for a long time. In all fairness, the Bengals are a good team, and they appear to really be pulling it together, and they could be pulling this together for a nice run to the finish. But I'm telling you, man, the Eagles they've earned my respect. They are not a fluke. 10 wins is a decent milestone for any team for any season, let alone just only after 11 games. At this point, right now, in my opinion, they're the team to beat in the NFC. Not that they can't be beaten. They can. We've seen that happen already. But right now, I refuse to bet against them. They're good, and they know it. And most importantly, they believe it. And with all the backlash that they've caught for having a weak schedule, this game against the Titans is the one that I expect them to come out and flex for the league. And I expect the Eagles to dominate this one.
Yeah, I think this is one where I thought it was going to be a close game, or I think it's going to be a close game. I think these teams match up really well, similar the way they play, power run type of football. So I think it's going to be a really good game, and I also think the Eagles are going to win it.
Yeah, okay. All right, Dolphins at 49ers. I got to speak on this one. This is a long road trip for the Dolphins. We always have to keep that in mind. The travel takes its toll. I don't want to overstate it, but I don't think it's factored in enough, in normal conversation. McDaniels is coming home. The interesting thing to me is who knows who better, right? I'm betting McDaniels knows Shanahan better than Shanahan knows McDaniels. Either way, they know each other. I don't know whether that matters. I don't know. It will or won't matter. They know each other. This won't be a game of preparation. Everybody will have their preparations made. This will be a game of adjustments. This will be a true chess match. I expect this to be an amazing game. But to me, the Dolphins are like the Eagles. First of all, McDaniels may be the real deal. The Dolphins were good, and I was happy with Flores. I thought he was doing a good job. But McDaniels may be a magician. He may be at the helm. They may have a couple Super Bowl runs under his tenure here in Miami. There's big shit happening down here, and everybody can feel it, and everybody knows it. The Dolphins are like the Eagles. They're good, and they know it. And most importantly, they believe it. And for a young team that believes they can win, man, they are tough to beat. I think, and Tua's flat balling out. I mean, he had almost 300 yards passing in the first half yesterday. And I know it's the Texans, I get it, but this looks like a completely different quarterback. And did you hear the story about Tua and McDaniels? Did you hear them talking about that yesterday?
No.
Tua admitted that he last year consistently looked in the mirror and asked himself, do I suck? Do I belong in this league? And he was questioning his future, whether he belonged there or not. And McDaniels came there and called him in and said, I just praised him and told him the things that he saw. He thought he was being misused, and he thought he could design a system for him and to better utilize his talents, and that he was the man, and he was standing by him, and I guess they made that clear to the team. And Tua said that confidence from McDaniels changed everything. And God damn it, he looks like it.
Looks like, yeah, because today I was sitting here trying to think about some of these games while I was at work and who I'm going to pick. And, this Dolphins 49ers game is one that I kept flip-flopping on. And I kept thinking, is right now, if you look at the landscape of it, people are going to say Patrick Mahomes for MVP because he's Patrick Mahomes. And they're the number one seed in the AFC. And I understand that. But when you look at what each quarterback is doing every game, I feel like it's 1A, 1B with Jalen Hurts, and Tua. And Tua might have the edge because of what he does as a passer. Like I understand Jalen Hurts as a runner brings a lot of value to the Eagles, but we're talking about quarterbacks. At the end of the day, quarterbacks have to pass the ball, and Tua has been probably the best passer in the league. Like Tyreek Hill before the season said, this is most accurate quarterback in the NFL. Most weeks it looks like that's probably correct.
Yeah, he's playing like a freak. I mean, and I love that you brought up the MVP conversation. I hadn't really given that much thought, but you're absolutely right. What he and his confidence leading them into battle. I mean, this is a different team. They're fun to watch. They're explosive, and Tua will punish you at any moment. He'll punish you. This could be. You bring up the Eagles. The Eagles Dolphins that's a very realistic Super Bowl prediction. We've got teams like the Jets and the Giants, and these teams that are having some success this year, but they're still trying to prove that they're legit. I think they're still trying to prove to themselves. I know they're still trying to prove to me. Well, they don't know that, but I'm still not convinced. I'm telling you what, the Eagles and the Dolphins are for fucking real. Everybody better be on alert. These two teams may wreak some havoc in the postseason for sure.
Honestly, like of all the Super Bowl matchups we could have this year, if you think about the way that game could go, Dolphins against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, that might be the most fun combination of teams to watch.
I'd have to agree with you. I think that the Chiefs can dazzle and entertain as well as those two, but that would be a really, really fun game to watch. I agree with you.
Oh, but by the way, who are you picking for the Dolphins at 49ers?
Oh, again, I think I explained to you about my buddy Joe. Don't be stupid.
Oh, you're picking Dolphins?
Yeah. I say that the 49ers can win this game, and I want to recognize that. They're at home. They're a good team. This is a chess match. I just think the McDaniels I think the Dolphins are going to win.
Yeah, I mean, we're really going to see what the Dolphins are made of here because coming out of the Saints game, the 49ers now officially have 4 straight second halves giving up 0 points and 94 straight game minutes of giving up 0 points. So the 49ers defense, probably the best in the NFL. We'll see if they can slow down the Dolphins. And at the end of the day, I don't think they will. I think Waddle and Tyreek Hill are just too much for him. And Tua, again, the most accurate quarterback in the NFL right now. So I think they'll be able to get it done. But I think it's going to be a really entertaining game.
Yeah, and you bring that up from a psychological standpoint. It'll be interesting to see how Tua handles this game, right? Because if he struggled mentally like he did, and it makes sense. I'm not knocking the guy. I mean, these guys go through some weird shit, man. This guy. I mean, he's blown his whole career ever since he was probably 8. Everybody's always talked about him. Can't imagine the adjustment. So, is he on the other side of that? Right? He looks like it. He certainly looked like it yesterday. I mean, he just lit the place up. But now he's got a week to think about 49ers defense, and how he mentally responds to that will be key to his growth. And I'm looking forward to watching this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to throw something at you I was thinking about yesterday. So we all know that Deshaun Watson's getting ready to come back in Cleveland, and it puts Jacoby Brissett, in a familiar territory. He's been a backup for a long time. But I was thinking about this yesterday, and it reminded me of it when you were talking about Taylor Heineke. I think Jacoby Brissett has earned a starting position. I don't want him to do it in Indianapolis.
Right. Yeah.
The interesting thing about Jacoby Brissett is I think that we're going back to the system again, right? I mean, Jacoby Brissett isn't going to be under center in a high-powered 500-yard offense. It's just not him. It's not who he is. But he's careful, and he doesn't make mistakes, and he's methodical. And I was thinking yesterday, who I think who should try to pick up Jacoby Brissett? The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Interesting.
Right? I mean, the organization as a whole is known for their defense and their run game. And then you got a competent game manager who's not going to hurt you. And at times is going to step up and show signs of brilliance every once in a while. And I really think that Jacoby Brissett might do well in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Honestly, because Kenny Pickett's been so up and down, and obviously he's a rookie. Everybody expected him to be raw coming in out of Pitt. So we'll have to see on him. But you get into the second year with Kenny Pickett, having Jacoby Brissett, I mean, if you have him as a backup, so I mean, one of the best backups in the league. We've been saying that for years. Like as a backup quarterback, that's about as good as it gets. So, and like you mentioned, he's earned a starting job. Like he's one of the best. He's one of the 32 best quarterbacks currently in the NFL. And so he deserves a starting job somewhere. Could it be Pittsburgh? I could definitely see that being a thing. If Kenny Pickett isn't the guy, I could see Carolina.
At this point, we're not convinced Kenny Pickett's the guy.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Right. I mean, I'm not. I don't know that he isn't, but right now, I would call that a 50-50 shot that he's going to continue to stay in Pittsburgh.
Yep, yep. And then you look at other situations like the Panthers are the first ones that comes to mind. One of the only ones that comes to mind because there's so many good quarterbacks right now. The Panthers, they drafted Matt Corral last year. He got injured in the preseason, been out all year, so they can't even see what they have in him. Do they try to draft another guy because they're going to have a high draft pick, or do they try to bring in somebody like a Jacoby or try to trade for Jimmy G or Trey Lance? However that situation goes, like there's so many things that could happen with the Panthers, and David Tepper is willing to do anything at this point. Like we see that year after year, he'll just keep bringing in different quarterbacks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Jacoby. But again, we both agree that Jacoby should be starting quarterback somewhere in the NFL.
All right, so let's run down these real quick. Packers or Bears?
I just got a notification a couple minutes ago said Aaron Rodgers is going to try to play Sunday against the Bears, and he owns the Bears. So if Aaron Rodgers can go, I expect them to win. If Justin Fields plays and Aaron Rodgers doesn't, I'll be picking the Bears. If they both play, I don't really know. Honestly, this is a toss-up with the way the Packers have been, but I think I'll pick the Packers here.
Well, so this could be prime opportunity for the Bears to really shove it up Aaron Rodgers' ass because they didn't forget. This might be an emotional appeal to really show Aaron Rodgers what's up. I'm going to go with the Bears. But with that said, it's because I'm kind of down on Rodgers right now. I kind of think maybe he stayed 1 year too long. I don't know. But Aaron Rodgers could come out and put up 400 yards, and we could be having a completely different conversation next week. So I do realize that.
Yeah, because I thought he was throwing the ball as well as he had thrown the ball all year against the Eagles up until he got a rib injury or oblique injury, whatever it is. And then that obviously affected him after that. But I thought he looked good. Hopefully he can come back and sling it like that again.
Yeah. Of course, if he had an oblique injury, he's going to be susceptible to re-injuring that just only after a week. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. All right, Steelers at Falcons.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one. Like I feel like I'm biased because I don't like the Steelers, and the Steelers have been kind of trash this year. And I've also kind of liked the Falcons. I like the way they play. That run style. Go ahead and give me the Falcons. I think they run for over 200 yards as a team and beat the Steelers.
Yeah, I think I thought the Steelers. We talked about this before. Tomlin, not that it matters anymore, but Tomlin's never had a losing season, but all that's about to change.
Yeah, that ship's sailing this year.
And I don't have any confidence in the Steelers at all. And they're on the road. I'm going to have to go with the Falcons. All right. The Jags at the Lions. Another interesting game. I mean, the Lions are home. They're biting kneecaps. Matt Dan promised they would, and they are. They look like they're finally getting better. They play hard for the guy. It looks like they're kind of getting their shit together. The Jags just pulled off a stunning upset. And it appears that we've got a winning combination in Jacksonville that minimally they're dangerous. And potentially they're going to end up being a contender.
There's always that potential. Definitely that potential when you have Trevor Lawrence on the team. But if you watched, and a lot of people were, it was Thanksgiving, the Bills and the Lions game. The Bills might have won that game, but the Lions made the Bills work for everything. I think people are, going to talk about the Jaguars. People said a lot of things about the Jaguars when they blew the Colts out 24-0. I'm not sold on them. Go ahead and give me the Lions, MCDC, getting back on track, getting another win against the Jaguars.
Yeah. So I'm not sold on the Jags either. I mean, I stick with what I just said. They're dangerous. I mean, the Jags could come in and own this game. I think Peterson and Lawrence are going to be a formidable team in the future, which is why Peterson went there in the first place. I think this year they are the upsetters. They're the team that could look like trash 3 weeks in a row and then come in and beat the best team in the league. I really believe they can do that. But right now, the Lions are showing more consistency. They're showing more heart, and they're at home. And like you said, they had a near miss against Buffalo. I'm taking the Lions as well. Browns at Texans. How convenient is it that Deshaun Watson, his first week back, gets to go home to, I'm sure, a warm welcome in Houston at the Texans? What do you think?
Yeah, how weird. Probably the only 11-game suspension in NFL history. What a coincidence that was. This one, look, Deshaun Watson hasn't played football in a long time. And so I don't know how to feel about this one because the Texans are so bad.
They're bad.
They're so bad. So I'm going to pick the Browns. I think the Browns' defense wins this game. I don't think Deshaun in the offense. Well, Deshaun probably won't be great, but they still have Nick Chubb back there, so he'll probably have like 150 rushing yards. Can't forget about that. So I'll be taking the Browns here.
Yeah, and Watson may look a little rusty at first, but there's a potential that may only last a quarter or two, and he may be able to shake that off as well. I don't think it's coincidence that he served an 11-game suspension. I think they saw dollar signs when they said 12 games or 16 games, and somebody said, no, how about 11? And let's bring him back into Houston, to garner the PR and the attention. I'm sure that was done legitimately. But the Texans they're just trash. And it kills me as a Colts fan that 2 out of 3 years, the 1-win teams have gotten their only wins against the Colts. But
in fairness, we tied the Texans.
Okay. You're right. You're right. Anyway, Browns are going to be way too much for the Texans all the way around. I don't. I mean, if it's close, it's going to be the first quarter too, and then I see a separation happening there. All right, Seahawks at the Rams. I don't even want to talk about this one.
No, this is why this is the last game, because this is a no-brainer. Like, the Rams don't have any. Their 3 best players on offense are gone.
Yeah,
they don't have a chance.
No, they don't have a chance. And unfortunately, I got to take the Seahawks.
I will also be taking the Seahawks to whoop that ass. And I would love to know what you think about this game, what you think is going to happen, who you think is going to win. You let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you for the next video.